Hi guys, it's Kristen. Welcome back to my homeschooling channel. This has been a highly requested video and one that you guys in the past have really enjoyed. And so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing our curriculum for the 2021-2022 school year. If you've been in the homeschool community for a while, you've probably heard the name Charlotte Mason. And Charlotte Mason was an educator over in England, I believe it was, in the 1800s. And she wrote books and things on her philosophy of education. And I remember reading about her and her philosophies when my oldest child, and we weren't even homeschooling yet, my daughter was probably 3 or 4. And I remember coming across her and some of the ways that some of her educational philosophies, and following some people on social media who were following basically her like curriculum, I guess if you want to call it that. It's not exactly a curriculum, but, and I was just really intrigued by it, really interested in it. The reason why I have never done like a full-on Charlotte Mason education is because there's a website called Ambleside Online that is in some way, I think, affiliated with her or her foundation or something, where they basically offer the curriculum for free, if you want to call it curriculum. It's pretty much book lists for each what do they call them? It's not grades. I don't know if they call them levels or, I think they call them years. So there's like year 0, year 1, like that. And so it's a book list that covers, maybe a certain time period in history and certain things, geography and things like that. And you basically take the book list and then you use her methods of, going through the books, and then you do copy work, dictation, narration, things like that. And you kind of like form your own curriculum for the school year. So I've always been nervous, scared, I don't know, to do it that way. My personality, I just kind of need something a little bit more laid out clearly for me, not so, like I need a little more open and go and a little less like, just take this book and then talk about it and write about it and that kind of thing. So that is why I've never jumped into the Charlotte Mason education. But as I've been homeschooling over the last handful of years, I have just become increasingly interested in the way her philosophy, Charlotte Mason's philosophy of education. And like I said, though, I just thought like, well, I can't do it because of the way that I have to kind of format the year myself and that sort of thing. Well, come to find out, there are a few maybe, companies who have taken her philosophies and everything and basically created a curriculum out of it. So ones that actually truly align with the way that, Charlotte Mason says that the school years and things should go. So there are, like I said, probably a few companies that do this. One of them is called Simply Charlotte Mason, which I checked out. But the one that I ended up choosing and loving everything that I could find about it is called A Gentle Feast. So this is a curriculum that was written by a homeschooling mother named Julie Ross. She created this Charlotte Mason curriculum for the entire family. And I'm just going to read on the back of it to give you kind of like a quick overview or just like a little bit about it. You and your children will love learning again. A Gentle Feast is a Charlotte Mason-inspired, family-centered curriculum for grades 1 through 12 that is teeming with living books, beauty, and biblical truth. So one of the things that really drew me to this was how perfectly it aligns with the Charlotte Mason principles and things. And then also the fact that the family can do the subjects and things together for the most part. So the way they have it broken up is into forms. So let me make sure I get the forms right. So there's form 1, 2, 3, and 4, and there's 4 forms. And so form 1 is lower elementary, which would be grades 1 through 3. Form 2 is upper elementary, grades 4 through 6. Junior high is form 3, which is grades 7 to 9. And then form 4 is grades 10 through 12. So lucky for me, I have all three of my kids are in Form 1. So my oldest is in 3rd grade. My twins are in 2nd grade pretty much this year. So we are going to be able to do our curriculum together instead of last year. We had to, I had to one-on-one time with language arts with my oldest, one-on-one time with my twin A, one-on-one time with twin B, like that. And then the same thing for math, the same way, and all of that. So it just, as I kind of mentioned in the last video, I felt like by the end of the school year, we weren't having a nice, homeschooling wasn't fun or joyful or peaceful, something that we looked forward to. It kind of became something that we just, kind of suffered through, and just to like get it out of the way and then like move on with our day, which of course is not at all what I want, or what I want my kids to remember about their their homeschool experience. So I knew something needed to change. So I decided to spend the summer figuring out what we were going to do, and after tons of research and reading blogs and articles and watching videos. So after doing just tons of research, I found A Gentle Feast, and I pretty much knew right away that this was going to be the way to go this coming year. I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to go into some of the details and share a little bit more about it with you. So like I mentioned, they have the different forms for, depending on the grade. And they also have 3 cycles. So there's cycle 1, which is like early American history. Cycle 2, which is what I chose. We did early American history last year. So this is also American history, but this is like 1700s, the American colonies, the Revolutionary War, and the Constitution. So that's what we're going to be studying this year. One of the things that really drew me to this curriculum is that all the subjects are covered here except for math. So that's the only thing that you need to do or get outside of this curriculum. So I'll start by talking about everything that the main core curriculum covers, and then we're also choosing to do the A Gentle Feast morning time as well. So I'm going to cover what all that is and what's included in that after I go through this like main curriculum with like the history and all of that stuff in it. So what's included is history. So you go through there's a book list. And so you buy the books or rent them from your library or use Audible, or a lot of them are also free online in various formats. Some of them like on, what's the free LibriVox or something, I think it is like a free audio book app or website. And so you don't have to buy all of them. I kind of picked and chose some that I'm going to read myself, some I'm going to do on Audible, that sort of thing. It covers history, geography, literature, natural history. They even have like a singing portion in here where they recommend that you learn like folk songs or do solfa. And then there's also like a time allotted and like suggestions for doing like drawing and art. And all those things that I just mentioned are for Form 1. So once your children move up into like Form 2, 3, 4, they add in things like extra science, and they work on things like citizenship. They also recommend a foreign language. So they give some recommendations that you can add in if you want. I haven't decided if I want to do that or not this year, mostly just because we do have a lot going on. We are going to be moving into an RV, and so I just don't know if I want to add on something. I guess some people might not agree that that's like an add-on. Some people think that that's definitely something that you should include. But so we'll see. I haven't quite decided on that yet. So how it's set up is they have it all scheduled out for you in a format like this. I don't want to share, can you see? I don't want to share too much of the inside of this book because this, is like information that does not belong to me. I don't want to be giving away book lists or, things like that because it doesn't belong to me. It's not mine to give away. So each week is laid out in a, let me see if it'll let me show you real quick, a grid format like this. And so you just go through and it tells you for history which pages like in a certain book to read, for geography which pages to read, and then if there's an activity or something that goes along with it in another book, it'll give you that information. For literature, if your child is reading independently, it gives a book to read, for instance, The Courage of Sarah Noble. And then if your children are still working on reading, then it suggests they have a program called 100 Gentle Lessons. And that is like a beginner reading program. I think both my boys are beyond that, so we're not doing that. But I am just going to continue with my boys. Just like they get the gist of reading, they just need more practice. So that's what we're working on with them. For natural history, it has a book to read, all the information for the singing, and then suggestions for drawing or art and that sort of thing. So it is a literature-based curriculum. There's a ton of reading in it, and I really just love the idea of us all like coming together, and they're all getting the same information for the most part. My daughter who's reading will read extra books, of course, and probably do things a little bit differently than the boys when it comes to so they have a language arts packet. So I chose to go with those. I feel like it might be, well, I know that it's going to be a little easy for my daughter, but she needs work on like perfecting her handwriting and things like that. And I think it's going to be really good for her in that way. So the language arts is optional. You don't have to add this on. You can choose. So with the Charlotte Mason philosophy, she recommends doing copy work as a way to improve handwriting, learn how to spell, learn how to use punctuation properly, learn how to basically be a good writer by copying other people's good writings. So for instance, we have week 1, here's their copy work, if you can see that. And it's just like a couple of lines out of the book Homer Price by Robert McCloskey, which we're reading, that same week. The copy work goes on, and then there is a words to study. So these are spelling word suggestions, and if they already know how to spell those, they give you ideas of how to, you just come up with different words if they already know those. So you trace it. Then you cover it up and try to write it, rewrite the word if you misspelled it, that sort of thing. It also gives you a drawing prompt. So that's like day 2 is drawing. Day 3 is composition. So the writing prompt is to write a sentence about a skunk. And it shows it here. Day 4, it's a phonics focus. So words that rhyme with skunk. So they're working on that. Day 5 is dictation. Here, you can kind of see like that. And then that just kind of repeats itself throughout the curriculum, throughout the year. I love that you can add on this extra language arts portion. I think that's going to be really helpful for my boys, and just good extra practice for my daughter. And if the language arts ends up being a little too easy for my daughter, and she's probably just going to be able to get through those things really quickly, I'll probably just end up having her do more narrations or possibly different copy work, or just read more books. So we'll see kind of how it goes. Just kind of playing it by ear. So that's kind of the gist of the main core curriculum. Besides the fact, I showed how everything's kind of in this grid and set up for you. Besides that, just like aesthetically, this is just so well done. It's beautiful. The pages are like super high quality, and just has the most beautiful, let's see if you can see it. Can you? I think that light's too bright, but the prettiest photos inside of it. It's just so well done. It's actually way nicer than I was expecting, because it is a pretty small company. All right, let's move on to talking about the morning time. Like I mentioned, this is an extra option that you can add on. The actual core curriculum has the plans for morning time in it. So you actually don't need to buy this separate morning time handbook because the plans are already written for you in the main book. But the reason why I went with this guide is because it has everything like the pictures for picture study and all of the hymns and the poems for recitation and all of that right here ready to go. So I just felt like it'd be easier than me trying to print out the different pictures and the pictures that it has, like the pictures of the composers and artists and things like that. So I thought it'd be easier to have this in hand. Also, something that I should mention is that you can choose to get the printed versions of the morning time, of the core curriculum, or you can choose just to get the online version only. I chose to do both because the resources and things that they have online for you have links and stuff that you can click to like videos and like YouTube videos and Spotify playlists and things like that to help just help things run smoothly while you're going through while you're, you know, in the middle of your school day. So I did both. So in morning time, it covers the Bible, and then it goes over picture study or composer study. It kind of alternates. There's poetry recitation, poet study, fables and hero tales / biographies, and then hymns. So basically every day there is a reading straight from the Bible. There's also Bible memory. So there's a Bible memory passage for that term. Then there's a hymn that you work on together, the poetry for the term, picture study, poet study, and then books to read for the fables and that sort of thing. So morning time isn't supposed to take too long. It's supposed to be fairly quick. The same thing with the main core curriculum. That is one of the things about the Charlotte Mason philosophy of education, is that she really puts a lot of emphasis on the lessons being short and not forcing a child to sit through an hour-long history lesson when they're 6 years old or 7 years old. Like, they even recommend setting a timer, like depending on the subject, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and just stop when the timer goes off. You don't have to keep going. And then the next day you just pick up where you left off. So that's the morning time plans. They have on their website also the option to buy the menus. You've probably seen people use the menus for morning time. I'd seen them floating around for a long time and hadn't quite seen the need for them or purpose. But now that I have this morning time curriculum, I could totally see where it would be helpful. So this cover I actually made myself, and I have them available as digital downloads on my Etsy shop. They're super cheap. I just created them and I thought, oh, maybe other homeschool families could use something like this. Pretty little covers. I have ones that have like fish on them and things for boys if the boys don't want the butterfly. So anyway, this is our little morning time menu. So each of the kids will have one of these, and this is going to enable them to be able to follow along with us while we go through all the different parts of the morning times. So our passage, our like Bible memory passage that we're learning, they're going to have it right in front of them and be able to follow along with me as I'm reading it. And then the hymn that we're learning, they're going to have that right in front of them. And then the poem that we're memorizing. So they'll have that all right in front of them and be able to follow along with it, which I think is super handy, especially now that my kids are old enough to like kind of read and follow along as I'm reading. So that's one tool that we're going to be using along with our morning time just to make things, I don't know, a little better, hopefully. All right, so I hope that all made sense. I hope I was able to explain the A Gentle Feast curriculum to you in a way that makes sense. If you have any questions or anything about the curriculum, I can try to answer them in the comments down below. And if you're interested in the morning time menu covers, those will be linked in the description box as well. But thanks for watching this video today. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.